listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Frederick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Proof Text. I am Michael Halcomb, and in this episode, we are doing a Hebrew Growcabulary episode. So that means we are focusing on growing our Hebrew vocabulary. And what we do in these episodes, is just look at one Hebrew word or root at a time. And so on the docket today, we're looking at the Hebrew Nakah. And yes, we will. I'll pull up stepbible.org here in just a moment, and we're going to look at that, and we'll get a look at what the Hebrew word means, how many times it appears, and that sort of thing. I want to encourage you to be using stepbible.org, as it's a great resource and it's totally free. And yeah, I just encourage you. So if you're watching, you'll see that here in a minute. If you're just listening, that's okay too. In view is the Hebrew root Nakah, Nun Kaf He, and it has the meaning of to smite, or Nakah. He smote, he smited, however you want to do that. So let me pull stepbible.org up here, and we'll have a look at it together. All right. So that should be appearing on the screen. There it is. And I got my keyboard set to Hebrew. I'm going to hit search, and I'm going to type that in. Nun Kaf He. And you can see that Nakah appears about 499 times in the Old Testament, in Hebrew Old Testament. And we're going to look at that, to smite. The first occurrence appears in Genesis 4:15 with hakot, which it doesn't look a lot like Nakah, right? So what you have going on is that the hey ending replaced by the ot. You do have the kaf in the middle, but then the hey or the ha at the beginning is replacing the noon. So it looks very, very different. These words that begins with noon and have haze in them, oh man, they go through a lot of verb changes. So also in Genesis 8:21, you have it again, lahakot. In Genesis 14:5, you have vayaku, and same thing in Genesis 14:7, vayaku. In Genesis 14:15, vayakem, 14:17, mahakot. So you can just see in 1911 hiku that you're losing that noon on the front every time, which is very common with verbs that begin with a noon. So yeah, the verb nakah is going to look very different when you encounter it in a live text, and you need to be aware of that. If we click nakah, to smite, you'll see it can also mean to strike, to hit, to beat, to slay, to kill, and in different forms like the nifal, to be stricken or smitten. Same with the puwal. In the hifil, to smite, strike, beat, scourge, clap, applaud, give a thrust. That's interesting. Subjugate, ravage, chastise, and judgment upon. In the hofal, to be smitten. To receive a blow, be wounded, beaten, fatally smitten, attacked, captured, blighted. You can see there's a wide semantic range here. So Nakah. I don't have a great mnemonic device for that, and honestly, it might not help much because it looks so different when you see it in a live text. So Nakah from Hakot looks very different. But you maybe one thing that could work for you is that Nakah sounds a little bit like night knock, Nakah, like a knocker, Nakah. And when you're knocking on a door, right, or knocking on something, you're hitting it, right? And you can even be punching it. You can be smiting it. So Nakah, It can have to do, or you think of the old doors with the like metal thing on the front, where you could like click it on the outside of the wood door or outside of the door. Um, the Nakah. So a Nakah, someone knocking or smiting the door. Smiting the door sounds really weird, so just Nakah, but hitting the door, right? That's my mnemonic device for this. May or may not help. Take it or leave it. But that's Nakah. And I'm going to stop there and say I hope that helps.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.